Okay, abusia ba makwa ba sonko so edeba Ghana politics avenue so abusia yembonra yensem speaker Bagbin edinsem bi aba betudwa o che top NPP MPs bi oba be declare omo seat no vacant ati ano Afenyo Markins mo omo aso ayeshi na den na speaker Bagbin ekasa sa ensem na speaker Bagbin ekasa no yenchewa momo yenko na Mankasa monkonko tie ensema speaker Bagbin emanekasa cause MPs ni bi ye nneoma bi a any speaker Bagbin emanebo enjo so eno enechese ahye speaker Bagbin amanaba be disa ankomo say oba be declare top NPP MPs no omo seat no vacant mom yenko na yenkonko tie unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma Afro so answer into me and kabia ha Ghana politics avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell send any update be a drop piano once able to me akabi medamase.
Though the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has directed the clerk to Parliament to maintain detailed attendance records of members of Parliament to facilitate disciplinary action against those who are habitually absent without permission. Expressing his displeasure over the growing trend of absenteeism among lawmakers, the Speaker cautioned that members of Parliament who fail to attend plenary proceedings risk sanctions, including the possible loss of their seats.
Before usually I commence proceedings, I always take account of those present. I'm not happy with the situation. I did indicate from the very beginning of this meeting that I have the records of attendance for the first meeting and the second meeting. I decided for good reason not to publish them, but to give you the last opportunity. It looks like that is a catastrophic mistake I made. I should have brought it out and referred members to the Privileges Committee. I thought that was not a good way to start this third meeting. It's like that's encouraged members not to be present. I'm saying this for the last time. I've given directive to the clerks at table to take the records for this meeting. And please, we have the standing orders. We know what they say. We'll be taking action to make sure that we compel members to sit or to be considered to have vacated their seats. This matter, I will say no more.
Lesson of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice, indicating that the request will protect the interests of the acting CJ and the integrity of the judicial process. The caucus has demanded that all processes to vet and confirm the acting CJ be halted until all pending legal cases filed by the former Chief Justice are settled. A member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee has pronounced that request dead on arrival.
The former Chief Justice has at least 3 active cases at the High Court and the ECOWAS Court challenging a removal from office. She is seeking the favor of these courts for a possible reinstatement as a Supreme Court judge and a pronouncement that the Poor Mind Committee acted in error. The minority MPs say until those cases are resolved, the Speaker must not allow the Appointments Committee to consider the nomination of Justice Bafuboni.
The minority has served notice on the clerk to Parliament and we have a motion for the Speaker to consider the suspension of all activities both at the Parliamentary Select Committee on appointments and the plenary on anything that has to do with the consideration of the nomination of Justice Paul Bafuboni as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
He explained that the motion is out of a good conscience.
Justice Tokono has about 6 pending cases at various courts High Court all the way to the Supreme Court, and she has 3 pending cases at the ECOWAS courts. And we believe that for good order's sake, it's very, very important that we finish and complete exhaustively all matters that are still pending before we consider the nomination of the acting Chief Justice. It is also in the best interest of Justice Paul Bafuboni, as he is being considered for consideration as the Chief Justice, that whatever has been done to Justice Tokono may be done to him.
A member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee and MP for Kwesimintim, Philip Bagbin, says the minority's request is moot.
The minority are playing political gymnastics. So when would those cases in respect of her ladyship Tokono end? If a lawyer says that this case is not going to end soon, all technicalities will be adopted to make sure it doesn't end soon. The seat is not the bona fide property of her ladyship Tokono. It's for Ghana, and Ghana must move on. Our judicial system must progress. So we won't, stop mark time because of somebody who thinks that she has not been dealt with rightly.
Justice Bafuboni is expected to be vetted on Monday, November 10, 2025.
Still in Parliament.
And many more stories, including sports and entertainment, coming up over the next 1 hour. Stay with us.
We're starting from issues regarding waste management and the environment, because the Environmental Service Providers Association say they will embark on a nationwide strike beginning the 7th of November in protest of government's failure to pay them. Speaking to the media, the Executive Secretary of ESPA, Amma Ofori-Entry, said that service providers were on the verge of shutdown due to the mounting financial pressure.
We call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, make payments to avoid a shutdown by the 7th November 2025. We therefore appeal to the government for the immediate release of outstanding payments owed to all waste management contractors by the 7th of November 2025. Without this intervention, service providers may be forced to suspend operations nationwide. ESPA regrets to caution that several landfills and treatment facilities across the country may face imminent shutdown. Such closures would disrupt waste collection services, threaten thousands of jobs, lead to public health crisis, and reverse Ghana's hard-won progress in the sanitation sector and environmental protection.
Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to Member of Parliament on the Select Committee of Water and Sanitation, Charles Bauer Dua, who he's joined us on phone for a quick chat. Mr. Dua, good evening. Thank you for your time. Hello, Mr. Bauer Dua. Right.
Good evening and good evening to all your listeners.
Right, we can hear you very clearly from the phone, so kindly turn down the volume on your TV set for us so you can speak to us through the telephone. While you do that, my first question would be, we as a country are trying to prevent a public health crisis. These people who collect and ensure that our streets and homes are clean are threatening to go on strike because they have not been paid for some time now. As a member of the Select Committee in Parliament, has this come to your attention?
Well, let me say that as a committee, the decision by the sanitation workers to embark on a strike action has not officially come to our attention. As an individual's attention has been brought to it by the news network, and I believe that it should come to our attention. I'm aware of some of the issues that they are complaining about, and the committee has at various meetings engaged and express its concern also on the issues that they are complaining about.
We are already struggling to keep our streets clean. I mean, there have been promises, previous government and even the current administration, all in a bid to ensure that we have clean streets and especially the capital city. If these people are threatening a strike, what would you advise the next immediate action be now that you are aware of it?
Well, I think it goes without saying that should this threatened strike, materialize, the city will further be, inundated with dirt, filth, and or whatever you can describe. And I do not think that we should allow our city to incur this kind of situation. I think that there's a need for the association to engage with government and then to ensure that a solution is sought. Mind you, sanitation workers are part of the essential service workers with regards to the law. And I believe that if my knowledge of the law is right, and as I think, they are not permitted to go on strike. And that therefore means that there's a need for government to expeditiously resolve their issue and then get them paid so that they can, suspend the strike or maybe completely do away with it.
And you're right that they are providers of essential services, so a strike by them poses an existential threat when it comes to issues of health. But are you aware of why we have had to wait this long? Because they say for a number of months they have not been paid, although they've made efforts to get the ministry's attention and by extension government's attention. Do you know why they've still not been paid?
Well, as a committee member, I'm aware that the issue of non-payment has come to our attention. I think it had also to do with the fact that these workers who are working so hard to ensure that our cities are very clean have been paid salaries and allowances that are so meager and do not meet the weight and quality of the work they do. And so government decided that it was going to look into the contract and to resolve the matter and to be sure that they were satisfied with their earnings. And so we as a committee have urged government to enter that action on it. And I believe that this is being worked on. And I can only further ask government to continue to work on it and ensure that this matter is resolved as quickly as possible and that the workers get paid. I mean, it's so painful, and so dehumanizing to work and not get paid. And I think government is working on it and will find a solution to it. I would ask the workers to exercise further patience as they have already done, and let's find a solution to it as quickly as possible.
Thank you for your time and the assurance you are giving us. Charles Bawumia is a member of Parliament and of the Select Committee on Water and Sanitation.
Moving on, the minority in Parliament has defended its motion filed against the vet. I'll take you to the courts, where lawyers of the former National Signals Bureau Director, led by Samuel Atachia, have expressed disappointment over the decision of the Supreme Court in the criminal trial of Kwabena Addo. The Apex Court unanimously dismissed their application to prohibit the trial judge from further hearing the matter. Lord Iduasare reports.
Lawyers for the former National Signals Bureau Director filed the application to remove the High Court Judge, Justice Eugene Yedunyante, from further hearing the case, citing bias. In court on Wednesday, October 29, lead counsel for Addo, Samuel Atachia, argued on the grounds of allegations that the trial judge blocked the disclosure of exculpatory evidence, took special interest in the matter by hearing the matter from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and allowing the Attorney General to decide the timelines of his decisions. But Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai counter-argued that the defense lawyers had misunderstood the facts of the case and was misinforming the Apex Court. He prayed the court to dismiss the application after noting that no evidence had been put before the Apex Court to satisfy the grounds of bias. The 5-member panel of justices chaired by Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson in a unanimous decision held that the application was without merit and did not meet the threshold for prohibition of a trial judge. Samuel Atachia spoke to journalists after proceedings.
I'm disappointed but not discouraged We'll see how the case will travel.
How does it feel going back to the same court that you...
It doesn't move me at all. The only persuasion a judge will have is the law. I'm not going to have a banter with him. I'm not going to fight him over anything. I'm just going to project the law. It doesn't move me at all.
The full reasoning of the courts will be available on November 5, while the case returns to the High Court on Thursday. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, this story is interesting. You want to pay attention to it because stakeholders at a constitutional lecture in Accra are calling for a review of Ghana's presidential term of office without delay. They posit that extending the term could promote continuity and strengthen the country's development agenda. The call was made at a forum organized by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, in Accra.
Ghana's four-year presidential term has once again come under severe scrutiny. Governance experts and civil society actors say the limited term restricts long-term development planning and pressures governments to deliver results too quickly. Across the African continent, Ghana remains the only country with a single four-year presidential term, renewable once. Experts argue that this structure slows down national progress and weakens policy continuity. Back in 2008, former President John Akuffo proposed extending the presidential term to 6 or 7 years, but the idea was shelved. Now, more than a decade later, the proposal has resurfaced and been submitted to the Constitution Review Commission for consideration.
In South Korea, the Prime Minister has no set terms. And honorable men and women, this is also the constitutional framework that we created at independence. A prime ministerial system where we reward the best leaders on the basis of performance. And we do not sack leaders on the basis of having served 1 term or 2 terms, but persons or leaders were rewarded on the basis of performance. As we speak now, Ghana has got the shortest term limit for the presidency system across the entire Africa. It's only in Ghana and Nigeria where the president is given 4 years to produce magic.
A former head of the civil service, Nane Jekum Jamina, also backed the call, saying a longer term would promote policy stability and reduce political interference in the civil service.
There are chief directors who've gone through due process. They have passed the interviews. They have not been posted, and there are people occupying chief director positions who have not gone through due process. I don't think that's a matter for the president. It's a matter for the Civil Service Council, and it's a matter for the Public Service Commission to deal with. You see, at times we talk of political interference and we put you all to the front. What are we doing about that?
Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampo Addo, expressed concern about the current system where public sector chief executives are appointed solely by the president.
President Atamios, the High Court told him, you have no right to dismiss any civil servant. Odum, and this thing. They told him, yes, with all due respect, Mr. President, you cannot dismiss any civil servant. 195 says that you appoint or act in accordance with the advice, not your personal reason, or you see someone in a party, peripheral, the way he dances, you like this. No, in accordance with the advice of the council involved.
In other news this evening, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, has assured all airline operators, aviation stakeholders, and the traveling public that comprehensive measures have been activated to ensure that continued provision of air traffic services across the Accra Flight Information Region. This comes after the Ghana Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association announced a nationwide strike action on Thursday, October 30, 2025. Now, in a statement issued by GCAA on Wednesday, October 30, 2025, the authority said management has developed and implemented a CNS ATM system contingency plan to maintain operational continuity and avoid disruptions to both domestic and international flight operations. It said in anticipation of the strike threat, GCAA has designed the contingency plan, which outlines detailed operational procedures, designated response teams, and robust coordination mechanisms designed to uphold aviation safety and service integrity during the period of the industrial action. The statement urged all stakeholders, airlines, and members of the traveling public to remain calm and confident in the measures put in place.
In more news this evening, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, well, that's the story we have just brought to you. We'll try and shift our attention to issues having to do with child abuse, which has come up quite strongly in the media in the recent past. So a 7-year-old girl has suffered burns to her genital area after a 24-year-old woman allegedly punished her for bedwetting. Although the matter was initially reported, the
Okay, abusuya wene ensema ekoso our political highway so top NPP MPs led by Afenyo Markin abusuya and Speaker Bagbin at a strong warning Akroma say oba be declare almost sit no vacant. Unsubscribe here, subscribe, like and share ma Akuffo so answer into me and kabia Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so any update be a drop biano. Also, once a bit to me akabi.